Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of This Week in AI. Tons of stuff this week, so excited to dive in. I have stuff from Google, a ton of stuff from Google, OpenAI, Claude, some other tools, some new AI glasses, and more. So let's dive in. Okay, so first off, a couple quick things from Higgsfield. I've talked about Higgsfield a lot. I really am a fan of them. So the first one is they're just calling it a personal clipper. So basically you can upload a YouTube video or just drop the URL of the YouTube video, and then it'll find all the best moments in that video and just cut them all up for you into fun, engaging shorts. So super cool, easy to use tool from Higgsfield. And then the other one, Google just rolled out their new update to Gemini, which I'll get to in a sec, but Higgsfield has an integration with that where you can make these awesome, like super in-depth and explainer videos where, like keep zooming in, and there's other ways to do it too. But anyway, you can see here that it's really visually appealing. Actually not that hard to do when you use Higgsfield. So two fun new updates from that. So Cursor just launched Composer 2.5, which is their most powerful model yet. And as they say, it is more intelligent, it is better at sustained work on long-running tasks, and it's more reliable at following complex instructions. They're also saying it's 10x more efficient than similarly capable models, and you can see the graphs here on how it grades out versus Claude and Codex and stuff like that. But as I mentioned before, Cursor is definitely a fan favorite amongst diehard developers. So if that is you, then look at the new Cursor because it's pretty powerful. Runway's been in this video creative AI game for a while. They just updated LF 2.0, where you can edit single frames in videos and just produce more robust AI videos and images. And you can see from the clips here that it's quite powerful. So depending on what you want to do, I mean, just from a pure like having fun standpoint, the new LF 2.0 release is amazing. And like if you have little kids, could be something really fun to just try with them. From like a business standpoint, you could even mix it in and do ads, do fun engaging videos for social media. I highly recommend diving more into these types of creative video tools. A, because they're going to keep getting better, and B, because it is definitely a way that you can help your business, your brand stand out from your competitors, because most are not adopting this at all. Yeah, check out LF 2.0 from Runway. It's pretty awesome. Okay, next is Google. Ton of stuff from Google. First of all, they just introduced some new glasses. They're calling them Gentle Monster. I don't know why they chose that name, but is fully AI enabled glasses, augmented reality, AI, all that kind of stuff. They are not available yet, but they do look kind of cool. And I think they have a ton of potential, especially when paired with all the new AI stuff that Google is working on. Keep an eye on Google's new glasses, Gentle Monster. Google tried Google Glass like a long time ago, and then since then Snapchat came out with something, and Meta has their own AI glasses or augmented reality glasses. And I think that is going to keep heating up. I just think that the tech hasn't been able to keep up with the utility factor, but I think we're getting close. Google just had this massive update across the board. So first of all, like Google Search, they updated it for the first time in like 25 years. So instead of just like Google Search and I'm feeling lucky, they now have AI mode fully built into Google Search. So that now can be the default for you if you'd like, is defaulting to AI mode every time. This is big in and of itself because this is the first time they've updated Google Search in 25 years. But also if you do like search engine optimization, or if you want your brand to rank in the LLMs, like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, which is owned by Google, you need to optimize your site correctly, a little bit differently than you used to. So something, if you have more questions, you can DM me about that. Definitely more crucial now than ever before, because again, Google is making AI mode default. So that's one new update from Google. They have an AI Studio mobile, so you can basically just make stuff with AI on your phone. So that's going to be huge. Okay, next I'll just talk about Google Gemini 3.5 Flash. So that's their most powerful model to date. As they say, it pushes the frontier of intelligence, speed, and cost, and it puts it in a little league of its own. So you can see here it benchmarked against the other models, and it grades out pretty well. TBD on that, I've seen mixed reviews, but they just rolled that out. So next is Stitch by Google. So Stitch is sort of like their vibe coding platform, let's call it, like Replit and stuff. They did a ton of big new upgrades to Stitch. So you can do streaming, start with an existing design, build in AI edits automatically, but you can do motion stuff, and it makes it easier to import and export. So if you want to go to Lovable or Bull or Replit or From, then they're just making that integration super easy. So you can see some of the videos while I've been talking about some of the new updates from Stitch. Very powerful. And I did a video before where I compared Stitch to Replit to Claude, and Stitch is actually pretty awesome. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. Okay, more stuff on Google AI. I'm kind of all over the place. There was just so much stuff. So they introduced managed agents in the Gemini Gemini API, so you can just build autonomous agents more easily than ever before inside of Gemini. They also announced Universal Cart, which is the new hub for shopping for Google, and it works across merchants and services. And so you can add things to your cart when you're shopping on search or in Gemini or YouTube or Gmail, and it all just kind of works together. So if you're in e-commerce, that is a big update that you should definitely be aware of, and make sure that you are optimized accordingly and running ads accordingly. So Pomeli is more geared towards, let's call it like solopreneurs or whatever, just people with like very small businesses, but it's actually pretty powerful. So you can build your comprehensive business DNA by putting in your URL, and it like builds out your brand book for you. You can build out websites with this as well if you don't have a website, or you can update it. Pomeli has been around for a little bit. They haven't been pushing it that hard. They just gave it its own little Twitter account, and it's super powerful. Definitely check out Pomeli, and like I mentioned before, Stitch if you haven't yet. Those are, I would say, the two most like user-friendly new-ish tools from Google, and they just both got massive new upgrades. Okay, next would be Gemini Omni. And so Omni is their model, that's their creative model. So kind of like Runway or whatever, you can just do anything. You can build worlds, you can do motion graphics, you can do video, do images, but it's super powerful. As you can see by these clips, these are all made with Omni, and they are very visually appealing and super fun to play around. Check out Google Omni. It's free if you already have Gemini. Just another fun tool from Google. Okay, next one would be Gemini Spark. So what Spark is basically, it's like a 24/7 personal AI agent that helps you manage whatever you need managing. So it can integrate like with your Google Cloud and your Gmail and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, it's nothing revolutionary, but it is the type of thing where like if you actually dive in and set it up, then you do essentially have a 24/7 personal assistant. So that is Gemini Spark. Okay, so that's it for Google, but I do have some big news on the OpenAI front. First of all, they said people are generating 1.5 billion images a week in ChatGPT, and they do have their new ChatGPT Images 2.0 that dropped a few weeks ago, and it's super powerful. Not necessarily a surprise, but big update from them. Codex, they made it to where you can share plugins across teams, so you can more easily like build things in one instance and then clone it and have other people use it too. That's fun from Codex side of things. And then also the OpenAI achieved a major breakthrough in mathematics, which I'm not going to get too deep on, but basically it solved some problem that people haven't been able to solve. I'm not a math whiz, but you can see a little clip about that here. So it was the question was first posed in 1946, and OpenAI finally cracked the code. So interesting there. But the biggest news as it relates to OpenAI and Claude for the week, in my opinion, was that Andrej Karpathy, who's one of the co-founders of OpenAI, just actually announced that he's joining Anthropic. He said, in his words, "I think the next few years at the frontier of LLMs will be especially formative. I'm very excited to join the team here and get back to R&D. I remain deeply passionate about education and plan to resume my work on it in time." So I don't know the reasons why he left OpenAI, was a part of that founding team, and I don't know exactly why, other than what he said. He chose to join Anthropic. I'm sure money had at least a little bit to do with it, but this guy is a major player in the AI industry, and he went from one team to the other. So anyway, Stitch and Pomeli by Google are pretty fun to use, pretty user-friendly as well. Big stuff from OpenAI, and then, like I just said, one of their founders just joined their main competitor. Hopefully you learned something. Let me know if you have questions, and have a great week.